Hey everybody, welcome to another Age of Grogu, and I have with me Elijah and Max. Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey,
Hey,
Hey, no Jason today. He's got some things he's doing, so it'll be the three of us.
classes.
Classes.
Class. He's
Classes.
supporting his
Yep.
mate in classes.
Yeah. How you guys been doing today, this week?
Not bad.
Yeah.
good, good.
Yeah. Pick up anything cool and new this week, Max?
Actually, I got
Right
the
here.
Oh,
best
right here.
deal on
Ooh,
this.
Ooh.
Pick
ooh.
Wow.
Grant
Grant
Morrison.
Morrison.
That's a little Grant Morrison.
Yeah. Hold
It's
that up
the
again.
it's volume one of his omnibus, so it's up until R.I.P.
Right.
Yeah, then it was Final Crisis. So it's
This
all
is
of his
with the
Batman
whole
run.
Damon Wayne. Damon.
Yeah, it starts with the introduction of
Damian Wayne.
Damien,
Damien.
and
Yeah.
then it goes
Right.
into like the Black Hand and
I said Damon Wayans.
R.I.P.
Like I was
What's
Damon
that?
Wayans.
Damien Wayans.
Damian
But that
Wayne. Yep.
but that's wrong. Damian Wayne, not Damon Wayans. If that would be a different movie.
It is a really close name. I will say that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Where'd you get that from? That was.
I got it for $10 on Amazon.
Oh
I got a
wow.
notification about it, and
Nice.
it's usually like $75, something like that. But
I
Yeah.
mean,
it's
ten
from
That's a
the
big
dollars just
book.
for the
Dallas Public
shipping.
Library.
Right. Oh, jeez.
Oh,
Oh,
Shipping was
okay.
only $3 too, so it
So
wasn't. It really
and it came
wasn't.
off Amazon.
that's funny.
Yeah,
Weird.
That's
I got
funny.
a
Wow.
library copy.
That's cool.
yeah. So that was a good find I found.
That's
Huh.
cool. You've got a She-Hulk poster back behind your head there.
Oh yeah, I won a caption contest from
Cool.
Golden Apple Comics.
Nice.
Whoa,
Oh, very cool.
They gave
the
me a
OG,
gift
legit
card,
Golden Apple.
the poster back there,
Ooh, cool.
this great T-shirt with Jen on
That's
it.
awesome. That's very cool.
And I got some cool comics. I got Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen's boss, Perry
Uh-huh.
White by
Perry White,
Yeah,
Matt
yeah.
a
Fraction.
Perry White kind of book. Oh my gosh,
That's funny.
It's got the best name, Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen's boss, Perry White, which
Oh,
is
that's
just
funny.
that's
a
funny.
great name. And I also got this from that store, which is so fun. It's called Survival Street.
Right.
It's a kind
Who's
of
the artist on that?
who is it? Jen Bestante.
Huh.
That's a cool book. It's about if it's like a satire. If corporations got the ability to run for president, and the first thing they do is start treating puppets like minorities and basically outlaw them. So,
Right.
with the help of LeVar Burton, they violently try to take back the country.
Interesting. They write
Yeah,
LeVar Burton into the story.
well, he's not called. He's just called Mr. Burton, but
Oh, okay, but it's
yeah, he's LeVar Burton.
nah. That's funny.
It's all like the
Interesting.
PBS people fighting together. It's all like the
I
Muppets,
see.
Sesame Street, and all that. It's fun.
Interesting. I'm not aware of that book.
That's cool. Awesome. What about you, Elijah? Much going on?
Not much. I picked up a job doing storyboards for like a segment of a feature. You know,
Okay.
they're doing
Oh,
like
cool.
a test shoot.
Very cool.
It was a random call, someone I haven't heard from in like a very long time, and
Right.
like, "Are you available?" I'm like, "Yeah," and I'm like, they're like, "Oh, we need this and this." I'm like, "Well, I could just if you need storyboards, I could do that like now," and they're like, "Okay."
That's cool.
So I'm
Awesome.
turning those into. I'll go in tomorrow. Probably finish them on Tuesday or whatever, but
Cool.
at least a couple of days bit of work. And then the other thing is I'm starting to see notifications for Designer Con.
Oh,
So
cool.
I think they're finally I think they, from what I can tell, they haven't sent out like emails saying that like you're approved, whatever yet. But I got an email saying they have a Discord, so sign up for their Discord for like
Gotcha.
up-to-date information and like blah blah blah. So I'm waiting to hear back about just the details on
Right.
what that would entail and like what a booth would cost, and like
Gotcha.
it
And
sounds like they make the list and they set out like a map before they contact people.
And for anybody out there who doesn't know what DesignerCon is all about, it's basically a convention that goes up in Anaheim every year in, what is it, November, right?
November, yeah.
Yeah, and they basically have all different designers, art designers, and different things like that going there, kind of advertising, showing off their works, creating things. And Elijah and I were thinking of going there and doing some couple of bits and pieces. So if we'll keep you posted as we come closer to that date.
Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
waiting for details on that, and hopefully, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
They have to look at
Cool.
my page and then accept me, and then I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know the details from that, but I know that it's coming, so I'm expecting that like
Right.
probably next week. But before next Friday, I'm
Cool.
expecting some sort of email for that.
Very
And the
cool.
other thing, I think this next week, or just maybe at the very end, the last day of the month or whatever, Comic-Con will open up the applications for professional passes.
Gotcha.
So as soon as I notice that, I don't know if I'm sure they're going to send out an email, but if I notice it, I'm checking each day just to see if it's open,
Right.
because they'll open submissions, and then you just can go on there and send in your, what the work that qualifies you for a professional, and then you'll get
cool.
an
Awesome.
email back saying that you're accepted.
Right.
So.
That's cool. Couple little bits of news, nothing major this week. But sadly, director Wolfgang Peterson passed away this week. And he did direct one of our kind of, I guess, childhood favorite films. The Neverending Story was a good one. Which, if you haven't seen it was weird.
I liked it.
It was so creative.
It was slightly scary.
Yeah.
It was like just one of those weird movies. Like, I want to like it, but it's also weird.
Yeah. But he also
Kinda
directed
scary.
Air Force One and Enemy Mine, a few other, it was interesting. It was like he directed some very obscure, offbeat kind of movies for the most part.
Well, also some pretty big movies that are like off the beaten track. Like Air Force One was a pretty, well-made action film at the time, but Neverending Story is a completely different style of movie.
For sure, absolutely. Yeah.
I wish I was a director in the 80s, because it kind of seems like they were running low on directors and just needed directors. Like, you're a director? Oh, we got a picture for you. You're like, what? Yeah, it's Die Hard. You're like, what?
Even when you hear those stories recounting about how they got
There's
the job,
a lot of
well, Jimmy called me and said we needed a director, and you were the only guy I knew.
Exactly. There's a lot of those 80s movies where it's like someone got a job as a director because they did one low-budget movie, or they did one Roger Corman movie, or they did one thing.
Right.
They're an art director in one movie, and they're like, oh, we don't have anybody. We need you to make this movie.
Right. Yeah. Seems that way.
I'm not blaming. I'm not saying that about him or whatever. I'm just saying.
Right.
It seemed like the opportunities was more available back in the day.
Right. That's cool. And the other,
he's nodding in agreement.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and hang on a second. I'm just going to send a link. I'm going to bring in Anchorman. He's requested to join us for the chat. Anchorman wanted to come in and join us for the chat, so I'm going to send him the link and let him come in for a little bit. Let's see.
Let him chat.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Okay. Yeah, so what else is news this week? Again, it's been...
We saw the first She-Hulk episode.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that for sure in a bit more depth, I guess.
Wait a minute, you have not watched any Paper Girls yet.
I have not watched any Paper Girls yet, no.
This is a thing where, in 3 months, Brent's going to be like, you guys, I saw Paper Girls, and I love it.
For sure.
We'll see.
What did you tell me about this show? I offered you the comic book 4 years ago, and you said, no, I don't read comic books.
Well, yeah. It would just take me forever to get to it. But either way.
I don't want to hear your excuses.
Yeah.
I'll be Jason for today. I don't want to hear your...
Fair enough. Speaking of excuses, have you seen this? Ezra Miller...
Anybody could have written this. Could have been ghostwritten. The secretary at Warner Brothers could have written this and then stuck his stupid photo on there.
Absolutely.
This is not even a real photo.
Yeah.
Why don't they use his mug shot?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to admit I'm getting sick of Ezra Miller.
That should be a handwritten letter from the county jail.
I think it's interesting he expects to return to work after all this.
This is all Warner Brothers totally pushing this one person who's done some pretty
it's
gnarly
just
things.
I'm guessing they want to get the movie out sooner than later.
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
like testing the water. Like, do people forgive them? Do
Right.
they even remember? Like,
Yep.
fine. Like, we'll put the movie out either at the end of the quarter or at the beginning of the year. They're gonna put it out in December or in January.
Right, right.
Like right at the end of the year, or they're like, oh, like they're gonna. The beginning of the year is always lacking something.
Gotcha,
It's
yeah.
like usually a comedy or horror movie. There's
Right.
nothing going on at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
So I could see them just like posting it, like just let's get rid of this crap.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Anchorman. Oh, we got him on
Oh.
mute. Let's take him off mute there. Hey,
Hey.
can you hear us? Hey,
Hello?
how's it going, man?
Alright, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. All good.
Hello.
How you doing?
It's alright.
Yep. So we were just talking about Ezra Miller and the Flash and the
Oh,
whole.
that's lovely.
Yeah, I know it's a pretty ugly subject, huh? So, what are your thoughts?
I think Ezra Miller just needs help.
Yeah. Oh, definitely needs help. Absolutely.
Definitely a reasonable take.
Yeah. It's interesting that Warner Brothers did kind of jump on this as they've changed hands pretty quickly now. They obviously a year from now want to make sure that their lead star looks good, and they're trying to get him every bit of help as he can possibly get. But I mean, this is it. He's done after this, as far as I'm
I don't
concerned.
expect him to show up to the Flash premiere at this point.
I think they'll
he'll-
keep him away from all
It
the
just like
marketing.
he can't make a mistake like again. Like
No.
if he wants to be like, oh, I'm pulling a Robert Downey Jr. and like everybody loves me again now.
Right.
Like he really, has to completely transform. Like
Yeah, but
I-
Robert Downey
don't say
Jr.
it's-
had some personal problems. You know,
I'm just saying. I'm
abuse
just
people
saying.
and
I'm just
bash
saying that.
people.
I mean,
that's
Robert
what
Downey Jr.
I know.
did some pretty bad things.
Oh,
He
really?
did some
He
bad
did?
things.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
I'm
Okay.
just saying that like he would have to like really like completely turn around. Like
Yeah.
we're like, what? Oh, I'm sorry. That was my old.
I think at
or
this
whatever.
point, a Robert Downey Jr. like redemption for someone just isn't possible.
I don't
Right.
think so either. Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I think people
So-
are hyper aware of the things people do now, and I think the things he's done have been so public and there's so much
Right.
media surrounding it that I don't think he has a chance for the same kind of redemption. Just because he
Yeah.
made a good movie, people will forgive
That's
him.
what I'm saying. It doesn't.
Right,
It doesn't
yeah,
exist, and
yeah,
he'd have to
yeah.
like completely change. Like
Yeah.
you can read through him, and like he's like early on. I was making comparisons to him to being the weird Crispin Glover, like on the Tonight Show or whatever, where he's acting
yeah.
all crazy.
Yeah,
That's
no.
Christian Grubber from Back to the Future, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Crispin
Yeah.
Glover,
he was
but like,
doing it as like an act.
well, he was also he was just kind of weird.
Yeah.
But like I was calling Ezra Miller like the Crispin Glover, but like Crispin Glover never like attacked people and like held people hostage
Right.
and like all whatever he's doing, but he's super eccentric, and
Yeah. That's interesting.
it's just
I mean,
crazy.
he has a cult. Like,
But the-
that's
I mean,
pretty
he's got, like,
eccentric.
The
yeah,
mother
like,
moved
from-
with him,
from-
and she was in a hand with. Yeah.
From
Yeah.
everything he's got going on, there's like really no way that he can come out of it other
sure.
than either I retire or completely change and like still not do much
Yeah.
work.
Well, I don't know who
But at this
would
point,
work
you've
with
made
him at
enough
this
money
point.
that like if you were smart, you could just take that money and just like disappear on an island.
I don't think he's
like,
that smart, but that's just me personally.
I don't think he's made that much money either. He's had a
Or-
lot of great roles, but he hasn't
Yeah.
had a lot of huge roles. He's also probably spent a lot of
Yeah,
a
people
lot of
blow that
shenanigans.
Yeah.
money crazy. It's crazy
Yeah.
how actors get an entourage and they
Yeah.
burn through their money and
They fly first class everywhere. They
Yeah.
they take other people on trips. They
yeah,
treat
yeah,
everyone
yeah.
around them.
Well, I'm
I
gonna
don't
be
think
doing another blockbuster movie next year, so like all this
Hmm.
income that I'm getting will get blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, anything else to add to this at all, Anchorman?
I
Or
think
is it pretty
it's-
much done conversation?
Oh. Hello?
Yep, we can hear you.
Tyler,
Okay.
You're on.
Ezra Miller just needs help, and if he acts
Yep.
like this again, screw him.
Yeah,
Yeah. Fair point.
pretty much. Yeah, I don't want to stick on this subject too much longer. I'm kind of done with him, as I said.
all right,
It
pretty well.
does suck because they were going to release these Flash tie-in comics for the
Oh,
movie
really?
that were going to kind of expand on the Snyderverse ideas of some stuff and show
Oh,
some
okay.
Batman stuff, but it seems like all those books have been canceled.
Oh, really?
Or-
That's
Destroyed,
interesting.
like in a
Okay.
furnace. So like not even gonna
Right.
let them like get printed.
Yeah. So, how many of you guys are going to watch this tonight?
I'm definitely watching it.
House
What
of
is
Dragon?
this?
The House of Dragon. It's the
Is this Bruce
Game
Lee,
of Thrones.
Bruce Lee behind
No,
the...
no. It's Game of Thrones prequel.
Oh, like of the Doctor show House
What? No.
with a dragon in it.
What's that?
It's like Doogie Howser, but
No,
House,
no,
doctor,
no, no. It takes it.
a dragon
so
doctor House.
You hate
The
dragons.
book was really good, House of the Dragon. It was
Yeah.
I'm
told
playing
very
stupid.
differently.
I'm
Oh,
playing
really?
stupid.
Okay.
I do
totally
that
a little
with
bit like a
sports
history
too. When
book.
people are like, "Oh, the Seahawks," and I'm like, "The Seabirds." The
Hey,
Seabirds?
man,
What
is
are
this
you
something
talking about?
you're interested in? Are you interested in watching?
I don't have HBO, and I've never
Yeah.
watched Game of Thrones.
Oh, you never watched? Okay, well, it had potential. It had some cool things in there, but
Yeah.
I actually loved the last season of Game of Thrones when everyone
Okay.
hated it because I remember going into it, it was
Yeah.
everything I predicted somehow. Someone, like, if you asked me what would
They
happen, I would
went
give you
formula-
99% of that.
yeah, they went pretty formula with it all for the most part, though. It kind
Well, it's
of
weird. Like a lot of people I
Yeah.
talked to hated some of the character stuff they did, where they thought it was like a twist of when I was
Right.
like, "This is how the character has been acting." I don't want to spoil it, but
Yeah.
this is how the character's been acting. This
Yeah.
whole all 8 seasons, like it's not
Yeah.
a twist for them to be doing this now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm going to try to check it out. I mean, I do enjoy Matt Smith, and I know he's kind of like one of the lead groups in the series. I think he'll be also
he's
a
a
character that will
Targaryen.
die by the end of season 1.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll survive. I mean, I don't know anything
I'm
about
so
the
down
book.
for more Targaryen stuff. I love. There's such an
Yeah.
interesting family. More dragons are awesome. Who can hate dragons? I'm down for it.
I love dragons. I love them. So, and there's supposed to be, I think, like 17 dragons or something like that in this series.
It's a lot of dragons.
That's
They
a
keep
lot of
saying it's
dragons.
gonna be-
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of dragons, so I'm expecting dragons tonight.
Yeah. I mean, it's all going to go off. I mean, if we go back to the original Game of Thrones, the pilot episode, it was kind of very slow moving, and it was definitely a lot of setup that was going on. So I assume this will be the same way. I don't think they're going to do anything
I think it'll be
massive
different,
in-
actually.
You
I think
did?
they'll start it off with a bang. I think it's
Really?
going to be interesting. Because Game
Okay.
of Thrones actually took me a while to get into, because that first
Yep.
episode definitely kind of starts slow. And
Right.
I had a bunch of people like literally in my ear telling me I had to like this show. And it starts with just Jon Snow in the woods. And I was just not,
Yeah.
I couldn't get through that scene because of everyone telling me
Right.
to watch it.
Right.
And then when
Okay.
I finally watched it on my own, I loved it. So I think they're going to do something different. And instead
Okay.
of starting slow, I think they're going to start with
Right.
a lot of movement and action.
Yeah,
Right.
I watched it. A friend of mine got me to watch it. The first 2 seasons had already been released, so I bought them on Blu-ray for like $12 a season. They're on sale, and I just thought, oh, screw it, I'll pick them up. And yeah, it was definitely it moved at a better pace when you watched them the first 2 seasons in the as binge
yeah.
watching. But I imagine beginning week to week would have been very hard, and I don't know if I would have necessarily continued watching the first season if I was going that slow at the beginning, and I had to wait a whole week. So, but either way,
Well, it's
I mean,
interesting. The first season was built on a few twists. It was built on that twist at the end of episode 1 and the twist
Right.
at the end of episode what was it, 10? The first season, the last
Yeah.
episode.
yeah,
I think because the first season was so predicated on twists, I
Yeah.
don't think this show is going to do the same thing. I think it's going to be
Right.
more predicated on bolder actions
Okay.
instead of just shock value moments.
fair enough, fair enough. Either way, it starts tonight. I guess we'll talk about it next week, and for us who end up by watching it and checking it out.
Is that coming all at once, or is it like
No, each week.
No, just first episode
Yeah.
tonight.
Yeah, it's over the next, I think, 10 weeks.
on HBO?
Yeah, on
Yep.
HBO. Yep. So again, we'll see. I mean, I don't think it'll do as well as the original Lord of the Rings. It's going to be going up against the Rings
All
of Power.
like the other 4
in a couple of
dragon
weeks.
shows we got going on right now.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, the Rings of Power go up in a couple of weeks' time, and that's the Lord of the Rings prequel, which I'm kind of excited to see too. I'm more excited to see that than I am Game of Thrones right now. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll check it out.
They need to
Yeah.
like,
I
they,
just don't
like
like
I just want this to have like Dio as like heavy metal, like like
That's what I've been waiting for.
like just
Really?
like a crate, like wow, just like anthems. They just get the
I've
heavy
been
metal,
saying
like
this
get
for
like
so
some
long.
crazy like the whatever the metal
we need
that's
Sabaton. We need
Yes.
Slayer. We need like some like actual like
Iron Maiden and
Yes.
Dio and like all those like classics, like that can sing about like maidens and dragons and stuff like that.
Well, it's funny. There's this whole new, semi-new, it's been the last like 15 years, genre of metal called Viking Metal, where it's all just Viking and fantasy inspired stuff. And I always thought if they did a movie with that music, it would be such a visceral experience.
Huh.
Interesting.
I can see that.
Yeah, the composer Raman, I cannot pronounce his last name, Dawandi, I think it is. Who did the original Iron Man, and he did the Game of Thrones series and all that. He's composing this. He dropped a piece of music this week actually, which it sounds cool. I mean, it's very light tone of the piece of music. I think they're holding back on the main music score we heard from Lord of the Rings, and I don't know if they'll even really include too much of that into it. Although the end of the piece of music does kind of prelude into the Lord of the Rings, into the Game of Thrones.
That's cool.
Motif a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'll be curious. Hey there, Gambit. How's it going? But I'm curious. I'll be we'll talk about it next week when we see it. So this week they dropped the tickets for pre-sales for Rogue One re-release in IMAX in the theaters. And now here's something interesting that I didn't know before. They've got the time frame of 2 hours 20 minutes on this, and Rogue One is actually 2 hours and 13 minutes. So they are going to be doing probably a 9-minute segment of Andor, showing a scene from Andor or sequences from Andor that are going to be about 9 minutes long.
What if it's the alternate ending of Rogue One when they able to stop the blast and take everybody off to safety?
It won't be any alternate. This is going to be the theatrical.
The alternate ending is the Death Star misses.
Yeah.
I see. It up Dantooine instead.
Yeah.
There's nothing alternate or different about this. I think they're going to be just showing the film, and then they're going to do
they're going to give you an ending that's completely different and throws everything off.
I hear the sequel might be a little different though, but I've got my tickets to go see it on Friday of this coming Friday actually. Wow,
nice.
It is this week. Yeah. I'm just curious, was anything Star Wars seen on the big screen from the TV-verse, even if it's just for a few minutes, I want to see a sequence of Andor on the big screen in an IMAX theater.
Right, so you can see how that would play.
Yeah, I want to see these TV shows going to the theaters. I want to see them taken off like a week or two later and replayed in the movie theaters for 1 week only. I would watch everything. I would go to the theaters on a weekly basis. If
just email AMC and be like,
right,
I suggest you guys do this. I used to work here. Listen,
yeah,
damn it.
For sure. I always, it's always fun to see a Star Wars movie on the big screen. And I figured,
I'm tempted
Rogue
to
One,
go just for that Battle of Scarif scene. That was such a great scene to see in theaters.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've had a Star Wars movie in the theaters, and I do know they played Rogue One about a year ago as part of the special surprise screening and all that sort of stuff. I wish they would have played something. I would like to see the prequels on the big screen again. I'd go back and pay to see the prequels on the big screen. Do that for sure. That'd be worth it for sure. Yeah, Gambit would be going twice a week. I agree. Yeah. Yeah, completely. That's it. I mean, again, I don't know how many people are aware of this, but about several years ago in season 4 of Lord of the Rings, not Lord of the Rings, of Game of Thrones, they released 2 episodes of the Battle of the Wall from season 4 in the IMAX theater for about 2 weeks. And they cleaned it up a little bit. They put it on the big screen and presented it as a feature film. And it was amazing to see the sequence play that we've just seen on television, but re-watching it again in an IMAX format. Again, it's like, and they did release some of Kenobi in Canada. They released Kenobi episodes on the big screen there, and they did in Australia as well. I
wonder if they were test markets for this idea.
Well, there are. I don't know if it's a matter of cost or expense or whatever, but I mean, you've always got things like Fathom events. They could always put these things on Fathom events and play them on the big screen. By the time you get to a point of 6 episode series, it's hard to really play everything. But if you played, 2 weeks later, you played the episode on the big screen, and then you played the following episode the following week on the big screen, and you kept on going, and you showed all six over 6 weeks, showed all 6 episodes, people would pay to go see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Kenobi should have gotten some big screen release love. It's weird. Again, it's like I don't know why the companies don't do it, and maybe there is a cost factor there, and I'm pretty sure there's a cost factor there of actually spending that kind of money. But so many people would see an episode. I would see it every episode of The Mandalorian on the big screen just because it would be so cool. And that's just me. So just to see 9 minutes of Andor on the big screen next week is worth it for me to go re-see Rogue One again. Which chances are, I doubt they're going to put this at the beginning. I'm pretty sure they're going to put it at the end of the film.
Right.
But I guarantee you that I'll be checking it out and talking about it next weekend. That's for sure, because I definitely want to see that. What other Star Wars news has there been? A few things have been winning nomination awards for things like Cal Kestis' lightsaber is one of the nomination for Toy of the Year award.
Is there any reason why it's his lightsaber specifically?
No, I think it's just in the sense of design and the look and all that sort of stuff. As to the reason why. There was also 2 other ones. One, oh god, what was the other one? The other one was for, I've forgotten what it was now. Anyone can remember, let me know in chat. Otherwise, yeah, there was a couple of awards that have been toy design awards at least, but that was the one that really stood out for me. It was Cal Kestis' lightsaber from the games. I've got a very strong feeling when they release. Is it next year that they're releasing the next game?
Yeah, next year.
Yeah.
And they'll probably give him an updated lightsaber model to use in the game.
Yeah.
Sell more toys. I know at one point in the first game he fixes his lightsaber to be dual sabered. So
okay.
Probably expect that as a
interesting part of the upgrade in the game.
Yeah, because it was his master's Yara Torpel's lightsaber. It gets cut in half, so he has half of it still just kind of broken. Like if you look in that image, that the back end is broken.
Gotcha.
He gets a new kyber crystal and fixes it.
Hey, Wrench, how's it going? That's cool. How you doing, man?
Hey.
Anyway, that's one of the cool ones. I've got a feeling there's so much like the actor Dominic. What's his name?
Cameron Monaghan?
Cameron yeah, Cameron, that's it. I've got a feeling he's definitely been hooked in for something live action. And
he has to. His character is such a likable Jedi, and the kind of Jedi I think this generation probably needs more than Rey, just because Rey was a little too overly confident. He didn't have that relatability that someone like Cal Kestis has.
Gotcha, yeah. No, I got a feeling that he's got secrets there that he can't tell, that he's going to be attached to something live action coming up soon. And I got a feeling they'll probably tie it in with the final game, or tie it in at least soon after the final game comes out. Because they are calling it a trilogy of the game, right? I think they're ending it.
I'm not sure. I know they announced a novel actually that ties in the first game and the second game this week. Okay. So I think they'll probably keep it as a trilogy, considering most games that do this stuff end up as trilogies.
Right.
But it's interesting that they're using the term Jedi Survivor now for the name of the franchise, instead of first game, which is Jedi Fallen Order. Now it's Jedi Survivor.
Okay.
Seems like the name of the trilogy going forward is the Jedi trilogy.
Interesting. Well, it'll be fun to see what they do with him and what they bring him into, and how they kind of merge him into something live action, if that is the case. They also dropped this week from Hot Toys Sideshow the Grand Inquisitor 12-inch figure, which looks pretty cool. I'm probably not going to get this one because I really haven't pre-ordered any Kenobi 12-inch figures. But they actually have got here the first look at the Raver figure in the background at 12-inch scale too. She looks great. I mean, they all look amazing.
They look really accurate
Yeah, and
to the show.
I have to make choices, and unfortunately, the Kenobi stuff is just not part of the choices I'm currently into right now of collecting,
Right.
and so I will hold off on all that stuff for the moment. At least I mean, most of this stuff doesn't come out till late 2023, early 2024. So maybe
Well, you
between
gotta
now
have
and then,
control in anything that you collect. You can't
that's
go
it. Yeah, you
outside your
can't just
means. I mean, it's
yeah,
just not
yeah,
fun. It's if you can't afford what you're buying, it's not fun. It's not
that's it.
rewarding if you're like
Yeah,
buying it to have the most or whatever. You're like it
yeah,
spoils it, and
yeah.
I know how it goes.
No, totally, exactly. And then, the other thing that dropped this past week that I actually ended up by listening to on Spotify, and they're releasing it midway through October, is the Rings of Power soundtrack by Ben McCrory.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I listened to the whole thing all the way through. It's about like
How is it?
nearly,
It's good.
yeah, it's nearly 2 hours of soundtrack for all the series, so for the whole season, kind of thing. It's good. It's different from Howard Shore's Lord of the Rings soundtrack. Although Howard Shore did compose the opening title piece, it's a much quieter piece. Ben McCrory uses a lot of harmonic and vocals differently in this. I think the one thing that I kind of miss from the Howard Shore stuff that is not in this score is a lot of the woodwinds and a lot of the light flutes, stuff like that. There's a lot of beautiful, quieter flute pieces that go with, say, the Hobbits music and all that sort of stuff. And I am kind of I notice a lack of some of that. But because I've only listened to this once, I haven't had the chance to really take it in and re-listen again. I'll do so. But being a fan of movie soundtrack music, there's some nice stuff in there. And Bear McCrory, of course, one of my favorite TV composers, is pretty awesome. Was that the things more worth collecting when the series is cancelled? Yeah. Let's see. The music. Yeah. Okay. So you listen to it, Liam? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There is a little bit of depth that is different from the feature films. I guess that the other thing as well that they're doing a TV format that they're trying to do something different than what the feature film brought in. And I think that's been the same with most of the, whether it's Marvel or Star Wars, the soundtracks and the music and the background music is very different, I found.
Mm-hmm.
Either way. So, yeah, I mean, it's been a quiet week, so I guess let's jump into just talking about She-Hulk. I didn't pull any reference images and stuff like that. So, what were your guys looking back and reflecting on, Elijah? What were your thoughts on the first episode of She-Hulk there?
I thought it was fun. I mean, I didn't really. I mean, I was, particularly too interested in it for any reason. I wasn't sure how it was gonna work, but it looks like it's gonna be fun. It's like like I knew if it was written well, like it would work. I mean, when we saw the first episode, it was just kind of bring you up to speed. It was really like this is what the show is gonna be like.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all it was. And there's a lot of potential. I mean, I'm hoping that there's, I'm hoping it gets really meta and they just can explore a lot of the weird Marvel characters, or at least mention them, or just a courtroom of all the weird C-list, D-list Marvel characters sitting in like the waiting room of a law office. I think that would be funny.
Right.
Like not even mention them, but just see a certain character like just sitting there, like looking at someone or what. I don't know. So I think they're going to do some of that stuff. I hope they do some of that stuff. And I like where it's going. I like the breaking of the fourth wall and talking to the audience, and that works and it fits. And so I was happy with it.
Max, your thoughts?
Well, growing up, two things I loved was Dan Slott's She-Hulk run and Ally McBeal, and this show was the best of both of those.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, it was a fun package. The only thing that was a little dragging was how much of the island we got, which we got more lawyer stuff than we got. I think, they could have shown how smart Jen was, and instead they kind of really focused on the Hulk stuff. A lot of cool setup with the Sicarian mail ship, whatever that was. I think
Right.
it could be set up for Hulk's son Scar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they did Jen justice. I think she's a fun character, and they treated her as such.
Right. That's cool. Liam's got here. He says She-Hulk was kind of mid. He didn't like Smart Hulk. Okay, fair enough.
Smart Hulk
I
is a bit of a cop out the way they're using him.
Yeah,
It's
perhaps.
the way to like still use Mark Ruffalo and not have to use like a raging
Right.
beast. Like, what can you
Yeah.
do with the raging like
Well, I
forever?
think they've gone beyond that point now with the Hulk in the MCU as well. I guess they have to
I
keep
don't
the
think we got
Smart.
enough real Hulk
Yeah, I do
moments.
agree.
I
Yeah.
always thought Hulk
Yeah.
was always kind of shafted on the team. Then they sent him away, and we never really
Right.
saw his whole Planet Hulk moment. We just saw the end of it when Thor shows up.
Well,
I
it
think
feels
some of it
like
has to do with like the you know like the rights to how that lands, isn't it?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Hulk?
Universal has the distribution rights, I believe.
Yeah.
for Hulk World, you meant?
Yes, just
Oh,
for
offline.
Hulk.
Just
Okay.
for Hulk in general, like some of the character and like what they can do with it.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, it feels like they're building up a repertoire of characters in that world, though. So it still wouldn't surprise me that they take it that direction and somehow do a deal with whoever they need to bring in and do a Hulk World story.
I think they've been trying.
Yeah.
It's something that like
Um,
uh, uh,
is She-Hulk part of that particular world, or is
No,
Hulk
She-Hulk is not under that
She-Hulk's not
banner.
part of
Okay,
it. It's
okay,
just
gotcha.
Hulk. It's just the
Just
Hulk.
It's
Hulk.
actually
Okay,
literally just Hulk.
Gotcha.
They Marvel Studios owns the rights to Red Hulk, Hulk's son Scar,
Right,
Weapon
okay.
H2, I believe they could
Okay.
use, which is interesting because he's also a Wolverine parody a little
Right,
bit.
right. Yeah, the one interesting thing I did read this week was the episode we saw was not meant to be the first episode. It was
Really?
supposed to have been the fifth episode in, apparently, in the original setup. They did some test audience stuff, which is kind of rare for Marvel to do test audiences. But apparently they did test the series out. And the whole Bruce Banner backstory, which dealt with how she got her powers and how that all linked together in the major way, was shot and was put in for a later part of the story. And that for the most part, that whole episode, and apparently the test audiences felt they needed to know up front more so how she got her powers first rather than go into the lawyer stuff. And apparently they did shoot the lawyer stuff for the first 4 episodes in,
Yeah, because there was that weird pacing at
which
the
was
start
just
of the
that.
episode where it starts really abruptly about like, getting
Yeah.
into all this lawyer stuff.
Yeah.
And they make jokes about, her Savage Gen look, which is a great reference to the first Savage She-Hulk,
Yeah.
the first run
Yeah.
Savage She-Hulk. And then
Yeah.
it just immediately skips to how she got her powers and then all of her dealing with it.
But she also says that one phrase is like, now you know the story, and kind of thing, like as in, now you know because the test audiences actually were the ones that forced us to put the story in the beginning.
yeah.
If you go back and look at that moment, it's like, oh, I see, this was definitely shot later at the end of everything, put back into the sequence.
That's another
to
okay,
re-edit
people,
this.
like,
Yeah,
we
that's
need
it.
you
Yeah.
to tell us how this is because
And
we don't understand.
Because they could step out of the boundary of doing that and doing the.
Then you
the-
stop doing test
audience.
audiences in like
Yeah.
Wyoming to like
Yeah.
a small community
Yeah,
of like
perhaps.
Wyoming, like a
Perhaps.
community of like 800
Although
or whatever.
I have
It's
to
like-
admit, I was kind of I personally did enjoy that we got that up front. I would have been.
It was definitely needed.
I would have been dragging on, going, I want to know how, and I'd be getting sick of it by the time we get to episode 5 if they decide at episode 5 to do the backstory then.
Right.
I feel like this sets the tone in the ground now, and now we can get into the real stuff that they want to tell. And get that
There
out
was
of the
that
way.
one weird moment that was definitely cut stuff with Tatiana at the end, where she burst into the courthouse.
Yeah,
and there's
that
no
was-
explanation as to why.
Yeah. Oh well,
And then-
actually, supposedly, I did read up into this. The client that she is opposite against, what's it called? Not defending the other, the ones who are the problem. Apparently, she could have been one of their clients. I think was one of the situations
Oh.
as part of the other team, and she was busting up to stop something from going on, and it was related to the other lawyer and the other the plaintiff, or I don't know how it all works with.
Yeah,
with
they'll
the way they
definitely
talk.
expand upon it because Tatiana is a
Yeah.
pretty important character in
Right.
She-Hulk lore. I wonder how
Yeah.
they're gonna give her powers in the comics. Tatiana gets her powers from Doctor Doom.
Oh,
She
really?
basically just asks for them and he gives them to her. And yeah, so I wonder what they're gonna be the
Yeah.
explanation for how she's super strong and
Right.
durable in this universe.
Liam had a problem with how she got her powers. I have to admit that
Yeah,
whole
it was a little
moment,
lazy.
it was
Whatever,
lazy and
just move it
quick. Yeah,
forward.
yeah,
Yeah, it
Like,
was a
whatever,
little
who
brisk
cares?
yeah,
of just the blood
yeah,
literally just falls into her open
yeah,
wound. And it
yeah,
was,
yeah.
I mean, it would have
It
taken a
was
little too
so
much
quick.
time to have her get shot and then have a whole blood transfusion because there's
Oh
no one
yeah,
else
no,
around.
I get that too. Yeah, it feels like half an hour, and I know it's half an hour is the typical format for a comedy. That
Yeah, it's a
it kind
sitcom. It
of,
has to retain
yeah,
some of
it
that
has to
sitcom
retain,
feel.
yeah, and that's probably what's kind of disjointing because we're going into that really for the first time in the MCU, and
WandaVision did sitcom, but not really.
yeah, yeah, you're right,
This
it
is like
did,
the first real attempt at a sitcom
yeah,
going straight and
yeah,
not
yeah,
trying to be like, but we're
and
doing a sitcom, guys.
and that goes back to being my problem what I had with it. I didn't have any problems with performance or the CGI didn't necessarily bother me or anything like that. I'm not a fan of that style. And even though I laughed during the episode because there was some there was genuine funny moments that happened in the episode. I just have this thing about I just don't like the formula of a sitcom in general for the most part. And it doesn't necessarily do it for me. It doesn't mean it's wrong or it's bad or badly done. I think they nailed it on the head with the whole, again, Ally McBeal vibe of style of format. I just personally don't enjoy that format. It still doesn't mean that I can't get a laugh out of a scene or whatever, but I can
Right,
still
right. It's
walk
just not something that you
away.
relate to. I mean, I'm kind of.
I feel empty
No,
at
I think
the
I know
end
what
of
you
it.
mean because
Yeah,
sitcoms run for like 20 episode seasons and nothing happens in most of those episodes. There will be
yes,
an
yeah,
overarching plot in some shows, but it'll only
And
be
it's
like
more
maybe
character
4
right,
based. You
episodes.
like
exactly,
people to
yeah,
like attach
yeah,
a character to or someone
yeah,
that they whatever.
yeah. So this feels
I
like
think
it's
the
going to
show will be
have
a little tighter. I think this will. It's
yeah
only. I think what. How many episodes? Is this?
nine episodes.
Yeah, 9 episodes.
Yeah,
So it's a little bit longer than some of the other
yeah,
shows, but it's. I think
yeah.
it's going to be a little tighter than most
Right.
sitcoms with how they handle story and plot.
And yeah, the whole connection was superb,
Oh yeah,
short and
their
sweet.
banter was
Loved the
great.
two cousins, but yeah, I liked all that. I don't think we're going to see Bruce Banner again, except for
I think
maybe
we
the
will.
finale. I think we'll see him in the finale, but I don't think we'll see him throughout any part of.
I don't think he'll show
Yeah,
up. I think we'll get phone calls with him and stuff like that.
really?
I think. Yeah, I think they definitely
Okay,
shot enough with Mark Ruffalo because
okay,
he's listed as a starring role in the show, not a guest star, I believe.
right. Oh, really? Okay, all right. Okay.
I
So
believe he was
maybe
part of
they'll.
the main cast.
Oh, really? Okay. I kind of gathered that he would be like a one and done, and we might just see him pop up at the end. But I
That was the
guess
It's
joke
probably
that
just. I mean, they
yeah.
don't need him for anything. It's just all dialogue.
No,
Like
they
one of those
don't.
Yeah.
things they
Yeah.
can do in a weekend,
Right. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
phone in like even if he's on vacation and like whatever, going
Yeah.
somewhere, record it.
Yeah.
Well, I actually realized I think it was the first Avengers movie, maybe the second. Tony asks Banner, "Why don't you just go somewhere off the coast of Mexico and get tan instead of green?" And then it's real. Tony built him this Mexican beach house.
Yeah, that is funny. Yeah, no, I like that. I think that was great. Yeah, there's always these underlining moments. There's a lot of stuff that I'm sure we missed in this episode, and
The oversized equipment in the lab took me a second viewing to really see how oversized everything in the lab was because it was
yeah,
like smart Hulk scale. And when Jen was standing next to like a table or something, it would be like up to
Oh,
her
yeah,
head.
like all huge.
oh, that's funny. Yeah, that actually I didn't catch that. That's all
Yeah, it
production
took me a
design
second
too.
because when you look
Yeah,
at when you see it next to Hulk, it looks normal because he's
yeah,
Hulk sized.
yeah.
When you put Jen next to it,
Even during our reaction video, Elijah mentioned about how small the grinder was in his hand, which was pretty
yeah,
funny to see
Yeah.
this little tiny
he's just kind
grinder
of
in the Hulk's.
holding
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing her story now. I want to see what they do with this character. I want to know how she connects with everything. There's obviously going to be a through line with a opponent company and
Yeah, I get to Emil Blonsky too. He's
The-
going to be probably a major plot thread in this show.
Possibly. I mean, yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know enough, as I said, about the side characters and stuff like that outside of what we've already seen. And
We have Abomination in there, and you've seen
yeah,
him
yeah.
enough, and
No, no,
I
we'll
think
see
that'd
that.
be the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
reason why we get Bruce on the line to get like the opposing view on
Right.
Abomination come along, gives him a more
Also,
positive.
considering, yeah, considering going in how much we do know and who has popped up, it's going to be fun to see who we do know that has not popped up yet in the trailers and all that. It feels like we could see some other faces for sure that
Yeah.
we've seen before.
There's 9 episodes. I predict either a cameo or a reference to someone in each episode.
Okay.
I don't think it'll be
I
like.
would think there's more going to be more
Makes
than
sense.
just one. I think there's going to
Yeah.
whatever. I think at some point.
I think it won't be like Winter Soldier where it feels
Yeah.
something completely new and
Right.
just uncharted territory throughout the whole show. I think this will be
Yeah.
less uncharted territory,
Yeah,
or more, a lot of uncharted territory, but a lot of familiar aspects.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking we might drop the link in chat if anyone wants to come in and talk about She-Hulk, because we really don't have a lot going on this week. So I figured if any of the chat want to come in here, I'm posting the link now. Just hook it up and pop your head in and say hey, and let us know what your thoughts are on She-Hulk and where it's going, and all that kind of stuff.
I will say, comic book writer Dan Slott, who has written more She-Hulk comics than anyone else ever, has seen the first 4 episodes, and his only review was sensational.
Okay,
Oh, that's nice.
that's cool. That's always a high praise when you get
Yeah,
the
when you
original
get
writer.
I think Marvel Studios is trying to be a little bit better about connecting with writers of people who work these characters and ones that they're inspired
Sure.
by, especially after the little bit of that Hawkeye fiasco.
Yeah. Yeah, I meant it's interesting. See, I enjoyed the Hawkeye story, but that was just me.
Oh no, the fiasco was that the artists didn't get credit for because
gotcha.
they were kind of
okay.
riffing on the My Life as a Weapon story.
Gotcha.
With
Okay.
David Aja. I think they ended up using David Aja as an artist eventually, but initially they were like ripping off his poster, or his covers, his posters, having other
Right.
people do it, and he was like not happy with that.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. That's fair enough.
Because they also
That's for
didn't.
sure.
They also said they didn't pay him for any of the rights to any of the stuff he did.
Yeah.
They just kind of
That's
use
always
it
an
and
issue.
own it.
Yeah, that's always an issue. What else can we talk about with She-Hulk? I'm just trying to think, and if anyone wants to jump in on the chat, let us know. Otherwise, if not, we'll probably cut it a bit short. As I said,
Did
it's
you
been
ever
a very
catch up
quiet
on?
week.
Did I end up watching all of the ILM?
I haven't finished watching
never,
it.
You
Yeah,
just never stopped watching. You never.
yeah. I
I
haven't.
ended up
watched
watching
it.
all of Better Call Saul in the last week, so I
really?
just binged all that.
Yeah, I rewatched Battlestar Galactica. I just needed to get it out of my system. It'd been like 6 or 7 years, and I needed to get that in my system.
Oh yeah, Battlestar.
Yeah.
I forgot that's
Yeah, it's worth checking out if you haven't seen it. It's an older show, but it's a good one. What else did I check out? I still haven't checked out Sandman yet. I do need to
Oh, they
check
released
that.
a new episode. They surprise dropped an 11th episode.
Yeah,
The animated story, right? It's an animated short, or
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Tale of a Thousand
he's-
Cats.
okay, but it's fully animated, correct?
I believe so. I haven't seen it yet. I've
Okay.
been waiting to watch it.
Right.
Yeah, I only went through the first episode, and I just haven't sat down and watched it. I kind of like want to wait for a day when I can just sit there and watch it all
Binge
and
watch
not
it?
like
Yeah.
be distracted by other stuff, you know.
Fair
So-
enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I had that. I had followed the other show that also dropped this past week on Disney Plus, Orville, the sci-fi one by Seth Green. Sorry, Seth. Oh my God, Seth
McFarlane.
MacFarlane. Thank you. Yes. Season 3 was terrible. I thought it was. I mean, no, it was
I
interesting.
fell
It's
off
like
of that show real quick in season 1. I watched
No.
half that first season, and it did nothing for me.
It's weird. Season 2 had its peak season, I thought, in the sense of both story and character, and season 3 had some good stories and some good, obviously very, very good structured, connecting with everything that's going on in this day and age kind of stuff. but it was so boring of a season. It was just so long and drawn out, and it was like, yeah,
From the first season that I watched, I couldn't tell, like, he took so much of it so seriously, but then he
Yeah.
treated so much of it like a joke that
Yeah.
it never really felt like it knew what
Yeah.
it wanted to be.
yeah, agreed. I do agree there.
Like, it would take these
Yeah.
really big plot swings, and
Yeah.
then the next scene it would just be like the
Yeah.
dumbest Family Guy joke, and you'd be like, I don't know
Yeah.
what I'm watching anymore.
Yeah, no,
But Norm Macdonald was so funny in that show.
they took away a lot of that by the season 3, but
Yeah, I'd imagine they have to fix some of those
Yeah.
issues because it was a little inconsistent to watch. Where it'd be
Yeah.
one episode would be really interesting sci-fi about like a planet where
Yeah.
everyone votes on each other's actions, and the next episode
Yeah.
would just be about like this guy needs to give birth, and it's funny because he looks like a dude. And that was the whole episode of the whole joke of the episode.
No, they played into some decent story arc things, not story arc, but decent modern day problems and all that. But it was just so Anyway, it's done. But that was the only other thing I watched. Anyway, it doesn't look like we got anybody coming in on chat, so I figured we will probably close it off here, guys. Because really, there's not much else that's going on. Next week we'll be able to talk about. Actually, what is next week? Next week we're still not near Andor yet, so I'm looking forward to Andor.
We got House of the Dragon next week.
House of the Dragon we talk about. She-Hulk, we'll talk about another She-Hulk next week, and hopefully Jason will be back in to join us on that.
Yeah.
And then whatever news drops during the week. So guys, thank you so much for joining us. Chat, thank you so much for being out there. Remember to like and subscribe if you have not already. And we shall see you next weekend. All right. See you later.